All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Mondays with Mike. It is Monday, September the 25th, and so much to talk about today. Weather, sports, other life-changing things that are happening here at Fox 26. So I hope everybody had a nice weekend. Yesterday was crazy. We did have some late-day thunderstorms, but we hit 98 for a high temperature in Houston. That broke the previous record. Hobby Airport specifically hit 97. That broke the previous record. And Galveston hit 91. That also broke the previous record, which was 90. So, yeah, it was crazy warm. You might have heard me say this before. I've been saying this for years, that we tend to have our hottest days the day before a front comes in, mostly because the wind direction changes. It'll come in more out of the west or southwest, and depending on what time of the year it is. But in this case, we had a front move in today, which is why we've had thunderstorms, and why we already had some heavy rain in parts of the area. But yesterday, just crazy heat, which is why it was a good weekend to stay indoors and watch football. So congrats to the Houston Texans. So first win for head coach DeMeco Ryans as a head coach and as our head coach. First win, of course, for C.J. Stroud, our rookie quarterback, and for all the rest of our rookies out there. So big day to take home that victory. Now we're 1-2, so we're like one game out of first place, and in our division is not really that good. It really isn't. We got the Colts, the Jaguars, and the Titans. None is by any means a powerhouse. So we're right in it. I mean, we could actually win enough games to maybe make a run at winning the division. So anyway, so hooray for the Texans. My favorite play in the Texans game yesterday was this kick return by a guy named Andrew Beck. So he's a fullback. Fullbacks, most of the time, if you're not familiar, they're mostly blocking players. They mostly block for the running back. They get very, every once in a while there's a fullback that gets a lot of carries, but most of the time it's a blocking position, and every once in a while they'll catch a football. But in this case, he backed up to catch the ball, which he probably was not actually supposed to do. I think if he had not scored a touchdown, he probably would have got reprimanded for it, because the kick returner was behind him. But anyway, catches the ball, turns on the Jets down the field for like almost 90 yards. It was amazing to see. The other big story over the weekend, sports-wise, Miami Dolphins, my hometown team, my brother's Miami Dolphins, my best friend Ryan, Miami Dolphins, dropped 70 points. 70 points on the hapless Denver Broncos. The most points scored in an NFL game since the 1960s. And I think maybe like the second or third most all time. Just insane. And it wasn't even through any quirks of like crazy defensive touchdowns or anything. It was 5 passing touchdowns and 5 rushing touchdowns. And the total amount of offense was just off the charts. So that was crazy to see. It's been a long time. Following the Dolphins is my whole life. It's been a long time since the Dolphins have been this much fun to watch. So that was kind of cool to see. Florida State University, my alma mater, they are 4-0. We had to go to overtime against Clemson, but we won. So that's the important thing. So we are 4-0, which is good. And in Florida State news, the New Orleans Saints, their starting quarterback, Derek Carr, got slammed on his shoulder during the game yesterday, about halfway through the game. And so my favorite player, Jameis Winston, came in. He played okay. 10 of 16, no touchdowns, no interceptions, but they didn't score any points also. So the Packers scored 18 straight points and won the game. So that was not good. So I was a little disappointed in that. But, what are you going to do? All right, the big news here at Fox 26 in the weather department is that, yes, we have lost our Lena Maria. Now, she's still in Houston. She has, I'll let her tell the story. You can contact her on social media. She's written about it extensively, so I'm not telling you anything she hasn't said. But she is just starting a new chapter. It's outside of television. Sounds like she's got a pretty good gig, but we're going to miss her definitely. She was a great member of the team here. You know, obviously, you guys know, very smart, very creative, brought a lot to the table, lots of ideas, funny. You know, it was just a really nice person to work with. So she is moving on to a deluxe apartment in the sky. She's got a fancy job, like 30 floors up in some fancy building. So good for her. Hopefully she has a window. We don't have a window in the weather department, by the way. So maybe she'll have a window. So anyway, so that's a loss. So we will be, you know, obviously trying to find somebody to replace her. And, you know, no one can actually be replaced. You have a new person come in, and that new person brings their own personality and their own set of skills. And so we look forward to having that person coming in, hopefully sooner than later. Because otherwise, John and Ramisha and I are going to start getting grouchy. But nah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Had some storms this morning. Watch for some storms this afternoon as well. Slight chance for some severe storms out there today. Get your Fox 26 Weather app. Search Fox 26 Weather at the App Store for that one, or you could check us out here on the website, fox26houston.com. Click on the Weather tab. Hurricane season. Where are we in hurricane season? We are all the way up to the P storm. So it was an interesting last few days. So at the end of last week, we had what was called potential tropical cyclone number 16, which everybody, like meteorologists, are debating all over the place about whether or not people hate that term or don't hate the term. I don't really care about it. Yes, it's long to say potential tropical cyclone number 16. See, it used to be, up until a few years ago, it used to be that you would have this potential low forming and you'd be able to track it on the models, and you'd be able to say, okay, well, there's probably going to be a depression or a storm here, but there was no data coming from the Hurricane Center other than like reconnaissance, you know, Hurricane Hunter reconnaissance, but there was no cone of uncertainty or forecast wind speeds or anything like that because the storm hadn't formed yet. But now they have a system called potential tropical cyclone, where a storm that is almost certainly going to form but hasn't formed yet, they could start issuing a cone of uncertainty on it, a forecast track and forecast strengthening and things like that. So some people like the name, some people don't. Anyway, it became Tropical Storm Ophelia, and it was pretty feisty, actually, even though it formed right off the coast of North Carolina. Let's see, they had, I think, about 8 inches of rain in parts of North Carolina. They had a wind gust above 70 miles per hour. They ended up with about a 3 to 4 foot storm surge in Virginia. So it was North Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, Delaware. All those spots had a pretty decent storm surge and some pretty nasty rain. Now, it wasn't, you know, widespread destruction or anything like that, which you wouldn't normally expect with a tropical storm like that. But it just, it was kind of neat to see how quickly it came together and how much storm surge it actually produced. There's another storm out there right now, which is the peace storm, Philippe. And which reminds me, I feel it's like such a bad meteorologist because I did not look up whether it was Philippe or Felipe, and I'm not sure. So I'm going to look it up right now and let you know, because I should have looked it up before. And see, you got to go to the pronunciation guide, and it is Philippe. So that's what I've been calling it. Good. I thought it was. I looked at it preseason, and so I guess it was in my head. So I got it correct. So that's good. So the next name on the list is Rena, followed by Sean, Tammy, Vince, and Whitney. So we shall see. Philippe is not bothering anybody. It's out there in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And so that one's not going to be a factor. There's another tropical wave behind it that could become Rena. And then there's a slight chance for a low to develop in the Gulf down by the Yucatan. You know, the models are kind of not all that aggressive on it right now. So I'm not too worried about it just yet, but it's definitely something that we will watch. Hey, speaking of cyclones, and by the way, a cyclone is just an area of low pressure. It's really all it is. A tornado is a cyclone. A hurricane is a cyclone. A winter storm is a cyclone. They're all types of cyclones. Well, there's a bomb cyclone. that is off the west coast of the United States. A bomb cyclone is something that makes for a great headline, but it means it's an area of low pressure whose pressure drops by 24 millibars or more in 24 hours or less. All it really means is that it's a very quickly strengthening area of low pressure. So this bomb cyclone is parked off of the coastline of Oregon and Washington State. And so they're looking for about 5 to 7 inches of rain there in coastal areas of like a British Columbia, Washington, and Oregon, maybe Northern California also. So that's what's going on weather-wise over there. And, in our forecast, we're looking for some scattered storms today. Could be a couple of tough ones. And then beyond that, for the rest of this week, we're going to stay hotter than average again. Average for this time of the year is about 88. We're going to be closer into the 92 to 94 degree range, lots of humidity, and a daily chance for some pop-up thunderstorms. So we're going to have that with us each day, which is definitely a very good thing. So, I've been waiting for the mosquito apocalypse. I don't know, maybe I was wrong. I saw some mosquitoes swirling around my front door this morning that I hadn't seen recently, but it was not, we have not had the explosion that I thought we were going to have. So I might have to eat crow on that one, but I still think they're still lurking out there. Sometimes it takes 10 days. It's been about, today will make day 10 after our first heavy rain the previous Thursday. So there's usually about a 10-day, incubation. Sometimes it's earlier, sooner than that for these mosquito larvae, to develop and all of that stuff. But so far, so good. I don't know. All right. Well, look, it's sort of an abbreviated version of Mondays with Mike today. We had a fun after show. You could join us on the after show each day. It starts right after the news ends. So the news goes off the air at 10. The after show starts about 10:02, 10:03. It was fun today. Nate was out there following around and pestering our general manager, D'Artagnan Babel. He was taking part in an important golf tournament today, fundraiser. And it was fun. So we were just watching him, and I was making like some commentary from Caddyshack and things like that. It was a good time. So anyway, hey, thanks so much for joining on Mondays with Mike. It is an abbreviated version. I am doing the noon today. You're going to notice a little bit of a strange schedule with us in the news department just for the next period of time till we get a replacement for Lena Maria. So I'm going to be working some weekend mornings, and JD is going to be working a couple of weekday mornings, and I'll be doing a lot of noons. So like today I have to do the noon. So, between doing the show, doing the after show, recording Mondays with Mike, and then doing the noon show, it's a lot to squeeze in. So I'm going to go back and edit this and, try to make it look decent for you. And that'll do it. So anyway, shout out to my mom down in South Florida and to my brother, who I know is still celebrating the record 70 points for the Dolphins put down on the Broncos, which was amazing. And we shall see what happens next week. So hope to see you then.